Hello.
Cynthia McKinney had a warm welcome for the people in her congressional district. This monthly Q&A, her first since she's accused of punching a Capitol police officer.
Now, what can we do for you?
McKinney's accused of hitting the officer who stopped her at a security checkpoint. She was not wearing the special pin that identifies her as a member of Congress. Congresswoman first accused the officer of racial profiling, then backed down and apologized.
Congressmember McKinney spoke on CNN with Wolf Blitzer yesterday, and I wanted to get your response. This is Congressmember Cynthia McKinney.
There are only 14 African-American women members of Congress. So I don't understand what it is about my face that certain members of the Capitol Hill Police Department can't remember.
Well, here's what
Your response, Congressmember Jackson Leigh, to what has happened to her.
First of all, I think all of us, including Congresswoman McKinney, respects the Capitol Police and respects them for their responsibility and their job. But I believe that she is quite accurate in the fact that there are very few of us who happen to be African American women, and there are very few of us who would be so, if you will, difficult to be remembered, if you will, or to be able to be noticed. And frankly, many of us get either confused or asked for our ID or treated in a manner that is not necessarily accepting. And in this incident, it was unfortunate, but it is the role of the Capitol Police, of whom we respect, to basically know the members of the United States Congress. And if you're rushing toward a vote, a House vote, and I think people should understand we have 15 minutes to cast a vote, no matter where you might be in the entire capital of Washington, D.C. You might be in meetings off the Hill. You still have 15 minutes to vote. It's very difficult then to be stopped while the clock is ticking for you to cast your vote. So I think this is a question, first of all, where it should be resolved away from the cameras. I certainly don't think an arrest warrant is appropriate. I hope that the arrest warrant is not issued so that there can be an issue on the Democratic side of the aisle while there is an issue now with Tom DeLay on the Republican side of the aisle. And I hope that this can be resolved respecting the Capitol Police, respecting Congresswoman McKinney, who serves well in the United States Congress and serves her constituents. But most of all, I hope that we can reconcile this issue so that we can continue our work. I think it's an issue that clearly has the opportunity to be reconciled outside the legal process, and that any difficulty in identification can be solved in an administrative manner.
Has this ever happened to you where you are not recognized?
Oh, on several occasions. And of course, you have to suffer the indignity and sometimes handle it in a way that you don't care to handle it because of the fact that you believe that you've served in the United States Congress and that you should be identifiable. So there is merit to the points that she is making, and there certainly may be some concerns about securing the Capitol, which we understand has taken a whole different tone after 9/11. But I think cooler heads can address this question in a way other than the criminal justice system of issuing an arrest warrant for a member of the United States Congress who was within her right to be in the building and was within her right to be rushing toward the House floor to vote, as I understand the facts, and certainly should have had the courtesies of the Capitol Police, as we should extend courtesies. So why can't this be resolved where we learn who each other happens to be and we improve the picture book, if you will, and the training so that we all can be fully identified. There is no requirement, by the way, for any member to have an ID. We do have them, but we may have been rushing from somewhere and not carrying the ID, and there is no requirement for us to have a pen, which is our identifying pen, which I happen to be wearing at this time. But there is no requirement, as I understand it, for members to have that at this time.
They call it the last plantation.
That's what it is, a last plantation.
A lot of black officers I've seen this are nervous to even speak out against what they know is wrong.
There's been a good old boy system that's, I think, that's come to a head now.
I've seen it for 30 years. They disrespect black leaders when they come to the Hill. I think Mandela had just been released, and Mandela was being honored in the Cannon Building. And we had a ceremony prepared for him, and they were assigning officers to work the ceremony, and the guys were on a break. We heard a white officer say, "I hope somebody assassinates him." And I mean, you could see the clash about to take place in that locker room, white officers against black officers, and that's just how that is. It's been unbearable. The bottom line is that's why black officers brought the class action lawsuit. We just couldn't tolerate it. It's abusive, it's offensive, it's particularly offensive when you have officials doing it in your face also. If you're outspoken, if you try to do what's right, you stand for justice, you become a target of retaliation. They'll do anything they can to shut you up, to make an example out of it. I had a nigger note put in my desk drawer. We've had hangman's noose put on our lockers. We've had the N-word used against us.
We do everything that's asked upon us, and sometimes treated like second-class citizens. We're human beings, and we're men and women. We need to be treated like men and women, fairly.
The straw that broke the camel's back for most of the police officers, at least the Black Police Officers Association, was when the general counsel himself was accused of calling a cab driver in the city using the N-word. The Black Police Officers Association filed charges. They hired an attorney. I know they wrote letters to the Speaker of the House, Dennis Hastert, requesting that some disciplinary action be taken against the general counsel. I'm aware also that a letter was written by a congresswoman. I think it was Cynthia McKinney who wrote a letter on behalf of the police officers requesting the general counsel's termination. I know black members are disrespected. I've seen incidents where black members are disrespected. They'll do things to black members that they don't do to white members. Officers pretend that they don't recognize a member. We all are required to recognize members of Congress. We go through member recognition programs.
I had a white counterpart working side by side with me. A congressman from Louisiana came through, and I said, "That guy's a congressman." I knew the white officer heard me. He went over and said, "Sir, I need to see your ID." And he said, "I'm Congressman Fields from Louisiana." And he said, "Can I see your ID?" And gave him his ID. And he said, "What's the problem, officer?" He said, "Oh, sir, I'm sorry," went on. And when he came back to me, he said, "Well, he just didn't look like a congressman." Then I asked him, "What does a congressman look like?" He couldn't give me an answer. If you're not white with a towel and look at the profile of a businessman, you're not supposed to be there.
And it tends to be the same officers all the time who tend to challenge the black members. We don't see them challenging white members of Congress.
I've heard them say, well, when certain members come through here, in particular Cynthia McKinney, she ain't just gonna run up these steps. I'm gonna stop her. Then I said, if you know who she is, man, you can't do that. Well, I don't know what kind of outfit she may have on that day. It's almost just like they be just waiting, want confrontation. We've been trained to recognize members. They put out a picture, a special picture, and send it out to all the details and give it to all the officers. Say, look, this is Congresswoman McKinney. She's been stopped numerous of times. This is how she looks, so don't stop her. And she keep getting stopped. That's just strange to me when you got new members that haven't even been up there for even 2 years or a year. They don't get stopped like that.